Hello and welcome to another episode of In the Wheels. Today we are joined by the first ever British junior men's world champion. It's Harry Hudson. We talk about lots of things, obviously. Him racing in the junior ranks, his plans for the following year, and what it was like to race in Rwanda and make that stunning victory that netted him the rainbow jersey. So yeah, drop a like, give us a subscribe if you want, who knows. But all I want really is for you to sit back and enjoy this episode. So here is me chatting with Harry Hudson. Hi,
All good.
thank you so much for joining me, and yeah, at such short notice, really. We only kind of behind the scenes for everyone. We only really arranged this last night, so yeah, I'm super grateful that you jumped on so quick. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks for inviting me. It's all starting to sink in a bit. Obviously, it's my biggest race of the year. So yeah, obviously, I'm very happy.
Yeah, we are obviously talking about the World Championships win in Rwanda. Like, what was what was that like? Even like, yeah, just to cross that line first.
In the moment, I can't really remember what I was thinking, but obviously now I've begun to realize it was pretty crazy. Um, so it's all started to sink in and realize what's actually happened.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I don't really know what to say.
Yeah, because it's kind of crazy as well. Like, you think of all the Brits who have been in the World Tour, like Tour de France winners in Geraint Thomas and Brad Wiggins and Chris Froome, and you got Calvin, but we've never had a male junior winner of the world. So it's like it's mad that, or does it feel mad that you're the first?
Yeah, it's pretty mad. It's also pretty surprising that there hasn't been one before, I think, but
Hmm.
yeah, it's pretty crazy. That's another. Yeah, I don't really know what to say about it. It's another crazy thing, just on top.
Yeah, because like when you made that attack, was it like 35K to go or something? You know, that's about an hour's worth of effort to go. Like, were
Yeah,
you going, yeah, this is the winning move, or was it more speculative than that?
it was in the moment. It was more of a. It's been hard up this hill, so I'm gonna try and make a move, and hopefully it splits it, and maybe I end up in a group of five, that sort of thing.
Hmm.
But and then I ended up going solo, so I sort of settled in, and I was like, well, this works. I'll just be in the next group which comes across. But then I ended up doing a lap, and then it's obviously just over a lap to go when I hit the climbs. And I was like, right, I've got to commit now. So I fully committed from that point.
God, because that was and like that gap, like I don't know. There's no radios, so you're just having to rely on like chalkboards and kind of what you're hearing at the side of the road. But like, it never got to more than a minute. I don't think it was like it was always. It felt like you were always like just in reach, but equally just out of reach, like constantly. How did it feel riding and going? Okay, I've got to commit. I think I'm gonna get caught though.
At first, I think it got to 45 seconds pretty fast, so that was about as big as it got. And
Hmm.
then there was like lots of points where I was like, I'm probably going to get caught. Because it was like 10 seconds to. There was a few times where it was 10 seconds, and there was a lot of time where it was hovering 20, 30 seconds.
Hmm.
So, there was for the first lap, I was expecting to get caught, so I wasn't absolutely all in. I was like not holding back, but I was just trying to hold the gap as much as possible, and hope that if I did get caught, I'd still have a bit left. But yeah, obviously, I was right on the edge of being caught for quite a lot of it, so it was a bit scary.
Yeah, and then like you do see the clips. I don't know. Have you actually watched it back yet? Um,
Yeah,
but
I
like,
watched
yeah,
it.
there's like there's a bit where I feel like you have that realization of like, oh shit, I'm doing this, and it's like it felt really nice to see, and it was almost surprising as like in terms of British wins, it doesn't feel like a typically British win. if that makes sense. Um, but yeah, like, what did you like? I guess when you do watch it back, do you get all the emotions coming back and the feelings, or yeah, how is watching it back for you?
I mean, it's a bit weird watching. I've never really watched. I mean, I've had one or two races which have been like filmed, but it's a bit weird to watch it with like full commentary. I've never been able to watch like one of my own races and listen to commentary about me in English, so that's a bit weird. But yeah, I mean, you always have your perspective of what the race was when you watched it. No, when you raced it, and it's slightly different generally to watch it back. So that's been quite nice. But yeah, obviously, I do sort of know what I was thinking in the points. Like I know what I was thinking at that point and what's going through my head. So that's quite nice to like revisit it.
Hmm. And now taking a mega step back, like how did you even get into cycling? Like where did the journey to world champion begin?
I mean, I first sort of started when I was really young, like I just I don't really know exactly the age, but just really young, probably five,
Hmm.
6, just riding a bike. I also watched the Tour de France a lot when I was a kid with like my dad. That was probably where it all really started, the dream of racing professionally. And then I gradually started racing. I did a bit of cyclocross, and then it sort of built up, and then I focused more on road racing. And now we ended up as a junior, and then it sort of escalated.
Yeah, and and boy hasn't it. Because yeah, I was looking at your Palmares earlier on first cycling. I tend to use that one, and it's like you've won stages at like the Isle of Man Youth Tour. Um, you won the Sickley Classic Junior race, which is an incredibly tough race to win. Um, from the sound, or certainly from what I could tell, based on the result sheet alone, I'm guessing that was a similar kind of solo effort as the Worlds, or was it slightly different?
Yeah, Sickle, that was like 60k, two up with Matt Peace, who came fifth at the Worlds, and then I attacked him with like 10k to go. So yeah, that was quite similar, as in the
Yeah,
long move.
and how does it feel then to go from racing domestically to racing on the world stage? Obviously, you've also got like Liège Bastogne Liège juniors that you won. Um, and kind of, yeah, just is there a difference even between the two styles of racing?
I mean, you can definitely feel the difference between the UK and the like UCI level stuff. So like UCI, all the stuff in Europe. There's definitely a difference in the feel of the races. The fields are quite often a bit bigger, that sort of thing.
Hmm.
But in the end, it's just a bike race. Maybe the UK often kicks off a lot earlier with attacks. But I don't know if that's just how this year's been. But there's been some like Yorkshire. I was attacking on like the first lap. But yeah, I mean the UCI ones seem to be a bit more controlled, but that's because there's teams there, and it's a bigger race, as in
Hmm.
riders wise. So there's more of a depth, I think, which makes it a lot harder, and there has to be more attrition for the big moves to start to go. But I mean, both are good scenes to race in. I quite like doing the occasional British race because it's quite fun. Obviously, you know everyone there, and then the
Hmm.
UCI ones are the big ones that I tend to target.
Yeah, and I mean, it's been many years since I was a junior, but I remember like we'd do like the neutralized zone at least 20 mile an hour, if not faster. And that's like neutralized. You're not even meant to be racing, but it felt like sometimes, especially because I wasn't much good, like it felt like it was a race already. And then I swear, just as soon as the flag dropped, it was like, okay, let's kick seven bells out of each other, and then whoever's left gets to win. Um, it's nice to hear that sometimes it's not always attacking on lap one, but yeah, it's kind of mad because you did, as we mentioned, Sickle, Liège Bastogne Liège. You've also raced in Spain, in the was it Cantabria Tour? I can't remember the race.
Yeah.
It will be up on screen for people watching at home. Um, what? Yeah, I guess what have you learned from racing internationally and
taking on some of the top juniors in the world?
I mean, the higher level it goes, it becomes more of a team sport. That's something I've definitely learned this year with like racing teams like Grenke. It becomes more teams and there's a lot more tactics coming into it. That's a big learning point. But then you also need to learn to race. That's something I've had to learn a lot this year. Just how a race unfolds,
Hmm.
and how it will evolve throughout the race. But yeah, I don't really know. You just
Is
yeah.
that something that you find easy to do? It kind of in race analysis, because like you'll be hurtling along at 20, 30 mile an hour, spinning like Billy-O, and then you still have to be like, oh, okay, if this move goes, I need to go. And like, is that a skill that has developed, and is that something that you find particularly easy to do?
I mean, I just find that you have to be like constantly thinking and evaluating the race more than
Hmm.
anything. It's definitely something that evolves. Like as an under 16, races are just going a blur for me, and that's not particularly. I don't think that's very helpful because, like, I think you want to be able to think. It might just be how under 16 races are and they're so short, but
Hmm.
like, I find that you want to be able to consciously be thinking through the race and thinking about what's going on.
Yeah.
And that's something you definitely have to, or I've found I've had to learn and not learn, but it takes time to manage to do and not just be in the following the wheel and focused on what's going on just in your little bubble in the race.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. And then, not just at Sonia Palmares, you did the Peaks 2 day, so racing, elite juniors. Is there a big step up to going from being, a second year junior, so the oldest group, so to speak, to then taking on people who are kind of essentially my age and kind of, yeah, in their 30s or 20s, and who've been racing for a lot longer, um and probably have certainly experience that maybe you don't have?
I mean, I've only done one like Nat B with them sort of guys, but I mean, it was a different feel. It was a new experience. It's the only time I've raced. It was my first and only time that I've raced in the elites or with the elites.
Hmm.
But I mean, it's something I really enjoyed. It was really early season, so I think everyone was still sort of figuring each other out and figuring out who was there, which I guess was quite nice because there was no like designated favourite for the races so early on. But also, it was really hard. It was my first time racing. I think it felt like a level up from the national stuff last year because obviously there's elites in it. But it was a good thing to do, I think, and I definitely learned a lot.
Yeah. And for those who are kind of only just getting to know who you are, the world success obviously brings more eyes. Like, what sort of rider would you say you are based on? Well, how do you feel you are as a rider?
I mean, I think I'm a climber.
Hmm.
That's essentially where it comes to. What it comes down to, I'm lighter rider. I go uphill, but I'm not entirely sure whether I'm punchy or long climbs climber at the moment. I do reasonably well. I do well. That's what I do well on going uphill, but I'm not sure whether I'll be end up in the future being good on the long GC stuff or the shorter stuff. I think I've not had much chance to race the long stuff, but I would say that's where I'm sort of best. The big long climbs, where it's
Yeah.
hard all day.
Yeah, certainly that kind of the tough old day comes across as a sort of, because Melton Mowbray isn't the hilliest place in the world. You get a couple of drags, but it's not. It's certainly not like Liège. But then getting
No.
a result round there shows that you're suited for a big day and a sort of long day out in the saddle, as much as the climbing Liège probably helped you as well, and likewise in Kigali. Um, so yeah, it'll be really interesting to see how you develop, and yeah, see whether you go up Mont Ventoux just as well as you go up, like, I don't know, the Valkenberg or Coburg in Amstel. Um, that'd be good to win both of them. Anyway, yeah, but the Worlds isn't the only thing I have to congratulate you for. Obviously, shortly after, I say obviously because you know this. People at home might not. You signed for the Lidl Trek sort of next gen team. Um, so yeah, congratulations. How did that
Thank you.
come about?
I mean, there was conversations from like the start of the year. It just opened up with Little Trek. I ended up chatting to them. I had some conversations with them quite early on. It was just like about my races, about power data, and yeah, it sort of evolved. They were interested in what sort of rider I was. I ended up signing like mid-season, and
Yeah.
then um, it hadn't been announced or anything. So yeah, I think it was a lot. I mean, they wanted to see me race, so there was a lot of chats early year, but then they were waiting for like racing and to see how that
Hmm.
all went. And then I found out it'd all been announced in anti-doping after the race. I opened my phone and there was a post that I saw.
Oh yeah, because it was like pretty much hot on the heels of your win.
Yeah.
Like, so you're just sat there like downing water, trying to make sure that you can go, shall we say? And then you're like, oh, great! Like, and
No, yeah, that was
was it a lot
effectively it. A
of?
lot of people thought I'd sign straight away after the race, but it had all been done in advance. It
Yeah,
wasn't like I get to the
could you
finish and they
imagine?
put paper there.
Yeah, like, oh, grab this pen on your way past. Like, ah, that would be such a cool way to do it, though. Was there any like weight of expectation though? Because like you've signed, and then you're like, well, firstly, I guess there's pressure going into the year. As a second year junior, you're like, okay, what's next? Like, I've got to make the most of this season. And then once you've signed, you're kind of like, okay, now I've got to prove it, like that they're right to do this, and like was there ever a moment of doubt? Like, if you went, oh, you turn up to a race and you're like, oh, if I've got bad legs here, like, what if they bin me off now because they're like, oh, actually, he's not done well.
Um, no, not really. I think it sort of takes the pressure off, actually, to be honest, because you're
Hmm.
not fighting and searching for the result anymore, so you're quite relaxed. Because obviously, I felt like I'd already proved myself. I'd managed to get a contract with them, so I think it was the opposite. I was more
Okay.
relaxed in the racing, and I was just focusing on my race and just getting a result in general and doing the right sort of things, not desperately needing it in order to get myself a contract. I'd already got that, so it was more just for me to race and see how my own result, see how it goes. Obviously, I still want to be able to prove myself, but I'd already shown what I was capable of and already got what I wanted and needed.
Yeah. Because thinking about it, can you tell like which riders haven't signed yet based on just how the race is going, or is that a bit too meta?
No, I don't think you can. I think generally people, so there's a lot of chat about who's going where, but you can't tell with the racing.
Yeah,
I
fair
don't
enough.
think.
No, and how are you feeling about next year? Because obviously you're joining some great riders. Seb Gridley, who I've previously chatted with, he's already on the team, so there's a bit of kind of British involvement already. But yeah, how are you feeling going and making that step up?
I mean, it's pretty exciting. I think it'll be it's like the next level. That so we've got to see how that goes for the racing and stuff. But I mean, the support's going to be there, and I think it's. I'm looking forward to get all the kit and bikes because that'll be the first. I mean, I've got a sponsorship for bikes now, but it'll be the first time I get like all the fits and that sort of thing. So I'm really looking forward to it. I think it'll be a great experience, like the first training camp, that sort of thing. So I can't wait.
Yeah, it's like the kind of the meme about like, oh, I wouldn't tell anyone if I'd win the lottery, but there'd be signs. And for me, it'd be like, I wouldn't tell anyone if I'd signed for a team, but you'd know because I'd just wear the kit like everywhere. Any excuse, like, oh, I need to go to the shops. Okay, I better cycle there, so I'll use my track and I'll wear all the kit. Like, are you like equally excited just to be like, oh yeah, I want to get this kit sorted and on? And I guess also like with the worlds, like, are you lining up races so you can get to wear the world jersey?
I mean, yeah, I can't wait to be like training in the kit. I've also got Worlds kit that's arriving like today or something, so I can't wait to train in that sort of thing. Um, but yeah, I mean, racing in the Worlds kit's going to be like probably a highlight of the season. I've got one race this weekend, so I'm looking forward to that. I'm actually a bit ill, so I need to get rid of that first. But
Mm.
I can't wait to get to like pinning numbers on will be pretty cool, and then racing in the World Champs kit. I think it's all going to
Yeah,
be pretty surreal.
it must be weird though to win it as a junior, especially this year, means that you get what, a handful of opportunities to wear it before the winter, and then that's it. That's, you're under 23 now, like different age category. You don't really get the opportunity anymore.
So yeah, I think it's a bit of a shame, but it is what it is. I think hopefully I'll get to go somewhere warm for a bit, and I get to like ride in proper shorts and jersey wearing the World's kit. But yeah, I mean, I've got some long sleeve stuff, so I'll get to train here in it. But yeah, it's a shame it's only like 2 months.
Yeah,
That I mean, 2 months today. It'll be 1st of January, so yeah, I'll be out of it, which is pretty sad.
yeah,
But
yeah. That's mad, isn't it?
yeah,
I was like, oh, maybe you could do cyclocross, but then I was like, well, one, you'd age up, and two, you're not the world champion in cyclocross, so it doesn't
no,
even
yeah.
matter. Like, you don't get the opportunity. Um, but you mentioned you did start in cyclocross. Is that something you're looking at going back to, or is it just road or bust for now?
I've not decided yet, to be honest. I think I'll probably have a chat with my team, but I've never properly done cyclocross. I've
Hmm.
never like done a full season. I was going to do a full national series season last year, but I broke my arm, so I missed like the first 3 rounds. So I didn't get any gridding, so that didn't really work. But it's something I definitely like to look to. So racing a bit of cross in the future, maybe. But we'll see whether it's possible. So that's not decided yet. I think it'd be cool, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I enjoy
because
it.
yeah. I mean, as a fan, I love cyclocross because it's like you can just turn up to a field and you can see pretty much all the action just by like turning round like a really slow rotisserie chicken, I guess. But like road races, so much happens over such a long distance that it's like Paris-Roubaix Juniors, for example. Like, you'd have to wait at the Carrefour and you'd see them go past, and then you're like sprinting off to get somewhere else, and you're getting snapshots. You're not seeing the race properly. Whereas, yeah, like I'm going to Derby this weekend to watch the national trophy, and it's great because I can just stand and, like, in certain places you could pretty much see 75% of a course without moving anywhere, and I'm like, that's ideal. And as a participant, I guess it's safer because you're not on the roads. There's limited chance of a car or anything like that. It's just, you can still crash, but you can crash anywhere. Um, Even if you're riding solo. Um, so what does the off season have in store for you? What are your, I guess, future plans and going into 2026?
I mean, I've got a while till off season because I'm going to do the national hill climb, so I've got a few more weeks left
Ooh.
of still doing stuff. But then off season will just be like 2, 3 weeks just to chill out, and then I'm gonna be back on the bike, and it'll just be prep for next year. Hope I don't know what my calendar will be, but I'm hoping to do some of the big hills, big hilly races. So yeah, I'm hoping to focus on that sort of thing. Maybe get out to Girona in the winter, in November, December time. Get out the cold.
Yeah, doing that. I swear they might as well make that like a British like exclave more than a because there's so many Brits go to Girona. It's like just half of the UK is there more than like round here. It's kind of it's funny, but like you also get the Aussies, you get the New Zealanders, and you get everyone else. It's kind of amazing that there's so many people who head there. Um, but you mentioned hill climb actually. Um, it's an area of cycling I've always been fascinated in. I used to be a bit of a climber myself, but never much good. Like, and then having family and just getting comfortable happened. Um, so, what are your tips for doing a good hill climb?
It's a hard one that. I mean, it's I mean, it all comes down to pacing, doesn't it? Really, at the end of the day, for most hill climbs, because there's very few that are just all out. They're not really that short. But yeah, pacing is one of the big things that I find in hill climbing, and just knowing the course and knowing when it's time to like unload your power. Um, I mean, it's just suffering, isn't it? It's an all-out effort up a hill. There's not a lot to it, but it's also quite hard to like pace it correctly. That's what I think the big part of it, pacing and knowing the roads, knowing where to go hard, where to go easy.
Yeah, because thinking about it, like you don't get like in a time trial for as a sort of counter example, you don't get the sort of free rolling part where you're like, oh, it's slightly downhill, I can ease back and just actively recover because all the time you're fighting gravity and there's no like if you just ease off the pedals, that's it. You might as well stop. Um, and in some cases you do end up stopping if it's a particularly hard one. Um, so yeah, like are there any particular other than like the nationals itself? Are there other ones that you're targeting, or are you just going all in for nationals?
I've not really got that far to be honest at the moment. I've chatted to my parents about a few, but I'm gonna have had quite 2 weeks of quite a lot of racing and traveling, so I might just have a bit of like just time to train and then just do the national. We're not entirely sure yet because I've just been to Rwanda for a week or so, for a week basically, and then I'm going to Belgium in 2 days, and then I'm back. So I might just focus on the national. We're not sure. Maybe one
Yeah,
before, but we've not got that far.
no, that's fair
It's
enough.
quite hard
And
with the travel.
yeah, travel is hard, and obviously relying on mum and dad to take you places. It's a common story for a lot of juniors, and they are a vital support system um, for young cyclists. So yeah, shout out to mums and dads everywhere.
Yeah,
But
thank you.
with hill climb, like, do you actually have a specific bike for that, or do you just use your normal like road setup? Because you see people, I can't even remember names because I'm not like super into that scene. But I do remember reading like a feature in Cycling Weekly where they're like, "Oh, this is how to make your bike like super optimized, where like you just have one brake and everything's like there's no bar tape. It's like all shaved off with or with like a sander or whatever, just to make every like bit of metal go that you can afford to lose."
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I do usually either set my bike up in like hill climb spec, or last year I was using a hill climb bike. This year I'll just be on my road frame because that's really light, and I'm gonna like set it one by, use a set of outrageous wheels that are like 700 grams, 750 grams, that sort of thing. And yeah, no bar tape. And you change like the saddle to just raw carbon saddle.
Yeah.
Um, you basically
Oh,
save all
nice.
the weight you can. You take all the essentials off, um, and then it's only really functional uphill.
Yeah, I was just thinking, like, is there even an argument to say no saddle at all? Because like the amount of time you're sat down is negligible, I would think. So uh, is that ever a thought that crosses people's minds, or does everyone at least have a saddle?
I do know that my friend did say did consider it a one event because it was like a 1 or 2 minute, but I do a reasonable bit in the saddle now. I didn't used to, but I do ride in the saddle a bit now, so I wouldn't be able to manage with no saddle.
Yeah, fair enough. So yeah, it's super exciting things ahead. I can't wait to see how you get on next year with the next gen team. How can people keep up with you, like on social media or otherwise?
I mean, it's mostly just my Instagram. I think I don't really use any other social media. I just do like race posts on my Instagram more than anything. That's basically all I do.
Awesome. Well, yeah, I'll make sure that that goes on screen now so people can see it. I'll also put it in the show notes so people can find it easily. And yeah, thank you so much for your time.
Right. Thank you for having me on. Thanks.
Well, there you go. That was yeah, the lovely chat with Harry Hudson. I look forward to seeing how he does in the hill climb season, if he does much of that, and how he gets on in his first under 23 year. Yeah, it's great to break new ground, and yeah, I just hope you enjoyed it.